Hey there, welcome to ITV. I'm Ambika Kulburgi. On ITV today, we have the final part of the exclusive interview with India's maverick lawyer and politician, Ram Jethmalani. Talking to Raj Dave of India-US World Affairs Institute, Mr. Jethmalani continues with the amusing anecdotes in his life as a lawyer.
And I told them, I said, listen, there are 102 lawyers in the Nasik jail alone. If you want me to become the 103rd, I'm quite willing. But please, what I'm suggesting to you is permit me to get out of India so that I can go and talk about what is happening in India and to our democracy.
Yep.
So they said, yes, you go. But they say, how will you go?
Okay.
I said, don't worry about how I will go. I'm a criminal lawyer. I know my way around. So that night, I had one social function to attend, and that was the marriage of the present Attorney General of India. He was a young lawyer at that time.
Oh.
And I had promised his father that I'd attend the wedding.
Sure.
So on my way, I went to his wedding, whispered into his ears. His name is Ghulam. I said, Ghulam, you will not see me for quite some time. He didn't understand what I was talking about. He must have realized later on. From there, I went directly to the airport. I was escorted to the plane by no less the person than the Commissioner of Police himself.
Oh, wow.
But the hearts of those people were in the right place.
Sure.
They knew that this emergency is phony. They knew what is happening. You know, it's after I saw these actions of Mrs. Gandhi, who had lost a case in the High Court, you remember, the election was set aside. That the old proverb that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely has been modified. I have an amendment to make to that.
And
my amendment is that power corrupts, but the prospect of losing power corrupts absolutely.
Well, that's the situation.
Then I left that night, and then I went to the United States. I got political asylum there. But it was the Jewish lobby in the government which told me on the first day that, Mr. Jethmalani, you are under our protection. You will not go back to India. Soon enough, I got a nice teaching job.
Yep.
And then, of course, after one semester teaching, I wanted to start practice in New York.
Sure.
I even set up an office, got an office, performed the opening ceremony of that office, went to a friend's place, and there my daughter telephoned to me that Mrs. Gandhi has announced elections. Okay. I said, this must be a ploy because our leaders are in jail, everybody. They will come out in 10-15 days. How the hell are they going to canvass and so on? But the people were angry.
Yeah, they were.
They realized that this is phony, and that she had dealt with all senior leaders who were as old as her father and grandfather. A man, reputable man, Jayaprakash Narayan.
Sure.
So I decided to come back all the way from New York to Bombay. My transit was covered by the Voice of America.
Wow.
and the Canadian television channel. So all the time they were asking the Indian ambassador, please tell us whether the warrant against Mr. Jethmalani has been withdrawn. And they will report back to me, they will ask the Indian government. And when I landed at the airport in Bombay, I found a large number of policemen standing there.
So you thought
I thought that it is going to be arrested. I came prepared to be arrested. My son had brought a suitcase of clothes which I was supposed to use in jail. But when I came out of the bus, the policeman who was an assistant commissioner of police, whom I knew, picked up one of the garlands thrown by the crowd and came and garlanded me.
I see. Okay.
And then he whispered into my ears that we came here to arrest you, but your warrant has been withdrawn only 1 hour back, and we have converted ourselves into a reception committee.
Oh, wow. That's fabulous.
That's how. And
Yeah.
my constituency
Yeah.
was Bombay Northwest, in which Santa Cruz Airport is situated.
Okay.
A huge crowd had collected outside, and I delivered my first election speech outside the airport when I came up.
Right as you landed. Oh, wow. That's amazing.
And of course, Mr. Gokhale, her law minister, who was the judge of the Bombay High Court at one time, was my opponent. I defeated him by some overwhelming majority of some 200,000 votes.
That's wonderful. Mr. Jethmalani, tell me a little bit about the situation of corruption in India and how should this problem be handled? What would be your recommendation?
I am of the opinion that India is not a poor country. We have been made poor by the thieves and dacoits who happen to be in political power.
Interesting.
And to my mind, the present government has got to be knocked out.
Okay.
Now, how it can happen in a democracy is when the opposition unites. Major opposition party is the BJP.
Correct.
Against the BJP, they have got this kind of a line of criticism, which at least works with the minorities. That they are a Hindu party and they don't care for others. That's what seems to have stuck by incessant propaganda.
Correct.
Now this sort of stain on their political garment has to be washed out.
See.
I have taken a few steps in that direction, and I believe that opposition will soon unite and this government will go. What has this government to offer? There are much better people in the opposition today. The ruling party has Sonia, who is the uncrowned Empress of India, with no qualifications of any kind.
Okay.
And her son, who I don't wish to use strong words, but I think anybody present here is better qualified. So people have realized that. But fortunately today, the movement against corruption has found other powerful advocates.
Okay.
Anna Hazare is one of them.
I've heard of.
Now he went on a fast. The crowds that have collected, he is fighting about some Lokpal bill. Now the Lokpal bill is a small step in the direction of putting some fear of God into some people. It is by no means the final solution of the corruption problem. But the crowds which he collects, thousands and thousands of them,
Sure.
are all persons who have experienced corruption in their actual life.
Sure.
Let me give you an illustration. I talked to one random guy there in that crowd. Said, why are you here attending Anna's meeting? He said, sir, my mother died. I wanted to cremate her. I went to the office there to get a death certificate. I was told to come next day.
Huh.
And I had to fork out 1,000 rupees before I would get the certificate. He says, everything is corrupt.
That's too bad.
And I am one of those who believes that 1,500 billion dollars have been stolen and stashed in foreign bank accounts.
Oh my God.
Now, I am not ashamed of telling you that in 1991, in a country like Switzerland, where their whole prosperity depends upon these secret accounts
Sure.
and their so-called customer confidentiality theory, a prestigious magazine, I forget the name, published a list of 14 international thugs with their name, their photograph, account number, amount in that account.
Okay.
And the 14th person in that list catalog was the late Rajiv Gandhi.
Interesting.
What have we done? We are spineless people. They have done nothing to refute it. They should have sued the magazine. Nothing happened. 1994 has been published the history of the Soviet KGB. It appeared in the Russian language. It has been translated into English. But unofficially, the book can't come into India. It's available at every bookstall in America.
I see.
The title of the book is A State Within a State.
Okay.
Read page 223 of that book. It says that Mr. Rahul Gandhi has been receiving money regularly from the KGB, and he claims that he has been using it for the good of the Indian people. They have no reason to write this. They have given the archive number, chapter, page. We are a spineless nation, and now, fortunately, the nation is awakening. And this is the solution of the problem of corruption, because some, I won't say a completely pure government, but at least a much less corrupt government will come into power. And I will tell you that half the people who are today wielding power should be in jail.